Well, hello there, and welcome to Cooking from the Cupboards. My name is Heather, and I'm happy that you joined me today. Today, I thought I would do the Pantry Challenge, a recipe recap, or a recipe roundup of recipes that I've done for the Pantry Challenge. Now, I did not post my videos as Pantry Challenges after the first 3 or 4 weeks. I just posted videos as recipes, but they were all part of the Pantry Challenge because I continued the Pantry Challenge to the end of February. And we found some really good recipes that I am making over and over again. So I thought I would do a recipe recap of some of the recipes that I tried. And most of these recipes I either did a short on or recipes I tried and did a video on. So number 10. Number 10 was the smoky cottage cheese dip. And that came out of the Farm Journal's Country Cookbook. And it is so good. So I did a short on this, and it is a wonderful, wonderful recipe. It's a great dip. My daughter loves this recipe. So this is going to be our number 10. So smoky cottage cheese dip. All right, number 9 is going to be a bean dip. Now, when I did my bean recipe, when I was getting set up to do the Pantry Challenge, I did a video on preparing beans to use for recipes. And I did do the easy bean dip. And the footage did not get recorded, but I did do this, and it's 2 cups of pinto beans and 2 tablespoons of picante sauce, and you just whip it till it's smooth. This bean dip is so good. My family asks for it on a regular basis now. I've made it 4 or 5 times. And this came from the Country Beans cookbook. And this one, they're older cookbooks. So that was the bean dip. That was so good. Number 8 is going to be, I just had it here. Where'd it go? Oh, here it is. It's the beef and broccoli. I had done a video as a leftover recipe. I used leftover steak and I made this beef and broccoli. And I made it from scratch, and I did a video on this. And this was so good. My family really, really enjoyed this recipe. The sesame oil, I do admit, because my husband does not care for it. But other than that, I followed the recipe completely. And it is so good. So I did do a recipe or a video. I did do a video on this recipe, and it was a leftover makeover. So that was beef and broccoli. The other one that I've really come to enjoy is the chili sauce. And I had done this in a video. I done it with the tartar sauce and the salmon. And I made this recipe for the baked green bean recipe. Don't pair it with fish. But other than that, it was really, really good. But I found other uses for this chili sauce, and it's really, really nice. So I just thought I would include that yes, this is a recipe that I would be making more again. And next one is going to be the mozzarella sticks, the homemade mozzarella sticks. I did a video on this, and my daughter has asked for this a couple of different times. I don't make fried food very often, but it is so good, and they taste wonderful. The texture is great. So if you like mozzarella sticks, you can make them from scratch from home. It takes very little time. So mozzarella sticks is going to be number 6. Our number 5 recipe that I tried new, I've done a video on this, and I did a recipe read through for it. This is the peanut butter dip. Across all my socials, this one is well liked and well commented on. So this is the peanut butter dip. You do refrigerate it. Has cream cheese, peanut butter, some brown sugar, and some evaporated milk. It's 4 ingredients. It is so fluffy. It is so nice. And we were thinking of other applications to use the peanut butter dip. And we're like, that would be really good on pancakes or waffles. And so it's more than just a dip. You can actually use it for other things. But the peanut butter dip is number 5. Number 4 is going to be the Butterfinger pie. It's not number 1 because it is a dessert, and I'm not going to make it very often, but it is a pie that we are talking about over and over and over again. Crossed all my socials. This is one of the best recipes people are commenting on, and I did a video on making the peanut butter pie, and I just posted it here in the last week or so. But it's just some crushed candy bars, some cream cheese, some Cool Whip, and some graham crackers. This was a perfect recipe to use up cream cheese and the Cool Whip that I had in my freezer from the holidays. I did have to go buy Butterfinger pieces because I don't buy those very often. But it was a nice treat. It was around somebody's birthday. So the Butterfinger pie, if you have not made this or have not seen the video, please check that out. I will try to link that down below for you. And I did a recipe read through on it also. So this recipe is from the 1990s, and it says it's from Taste of Home magazine. So it's going to be one of their first recipes that they had put out. All right, our next one is going to be the pizza dough. I have done a lot of videos on this. So this is the easy homemade pizza dough. And this recipe came out of All Recipes magazine, and it's from fall of 2024. So yes, I do get current magazines, and I do look through them, and I do recipes out of them. And I tried their pizza dough. It's on page 11. And it is one of the best pizza doughs I have ever made. I did a whole video on just the pizza dough. I've done a recipe read through on just the pizza dough. And then I used this pizza dough to make mini pizzas, and I did a video for that. I made the cheese buns using the pizza dough, and I did a video for that. Oh, those are so good. Everybody keeps asking me to make those again. And then I did use that same pizza dough recipe, and I did pigs in a blanket with those. And so I was able to use this recipe not only to make pizza, I made mini pizzas or appetizer pizzas, the cheese buns, and the pigs in a blanket. And I do have videos all for that. So do check out my playlist for the Pantry Challenge of 2025. All of those videos are in that playlist. The next one will be number 2. We have been talking about this recipe. Oh my gosh. Now I just posted this recipe. This is Molly's pork roast. I think it's this page. Yes. This is Molly's pork roast. And this came from the Gooseberry Patch, super fast, slow cooking. I made it. I made a larger roast, and so it lasted us for 2 or 3 days, and I used it for leftovers. I did not video that, but it was so good, and it made perfect pork fried rice. So there's a video, a long form video for this, and I believe I did a short recipe read through on this. This is one of the best pork recipes I've ever had. It is so good. So that is now a new favorite, and people are asking me to make that again. And then our number 1 recipe that really, really it surprised me comes from the Better Homes and Gardens Crockery Cooker Cookbook, and it is the Pintos con Carne. Now I did this in the bean recipe, and so I pre-cooked a whole bunch of beans, and then I made the Pintos con Carne. And in that video, after I tasted it, I said, oh my gosh, this is a beautiful recipe. And it is. It's a beautiful recipe. It tastes so good. It is very, very simple. Very few ingredients. It tastes wonderful. My family has been asking me to make this. I was even thinking of making it yesterday, but we did something else instead. But this is a beautiful, beautiful recipe. This is a recipe that I will write onto a recipe card, and I will put it into my recipe box because it is a recipe that everybody wants to have. So when I go to make a quick chili, even though this isn't a crock pot, it's not a quick chili, it is a crock pot recipe. It tastes so good. It is so wonderful. So I would highly encourage you to check that out, but this is a wonderful, wonderful recipe. We all really enjoyed that. Then I thought I would do a couple of honorable mentions because I did so many recipes, and I strived. My goal for the Pantry Challenge was to use and find new recipes because I have a very large cookbook collection. I have a very large recipe box collection with handwritten recipes in them. And I wanted to be sure to use those recipes. So that's what my goal was for this Pantry Challenge. And I found I have more favorite recipes than the top 10. So these are going to be some honorable mentions. One is going to be the cheddar puffs. Now, I wrote this recipe down in the 1990s from a magazine. So, a long, long time ago. And I made this for when my kids were little. My kids are grown adults now. And I made it quite a few times. And so I thought I would pull out an old recipe that I used to make and try it again as an adult for my children. My daughter still loves these. So I did a video on this, but this is the cheddar puffs. That is an honorable mention. She has asked to make those again. And she also has this recipe written down for her recipe box. So that recipe is being passed down. Another recipe that we wrote down to pass down to everybody is Molly's pork roast. So that is written down onto recipe cards for everybody in my family. So my kids, they each will have that recipe card for their personal recipe boxes. The next honorable mention is a recipe that I've been doing for years and years and years. This is the poor man's casserole. I thought I had a book page in here, but apparently not. Let's see if I can find it. Main dishes, here we go. Now this is here it is. This is poor man's casserole. And it's kind of like a shepherd's pie or a cottage pie. And I made this in a recipe for one of the Pantry Challenge videos that I did. And so it's like a casserole, but I don't make it into a casserole. I just serve it mashed potatoes with the poor man casserole ingredients on top. So like a gravy. And I've been making this for well over 35 years. This was given to me as a wedding gift from my aunt. And it is one of my husband's favorite recipes. I make that probably 4 or 5 times a year. So I wanted to mention that. It is a wonderful recipe. It is so good, so easy, very little ingredients, and I think most people would enjoy that. And this one actually has a lot of comments and views across all of my socials, not just YouTube. The next honorable mention that I want to do is going to be the Make a Meals Baked Beans. Here it is. And this is from the Fix It and Forget It 5 ingredient favorites. A lot of people really enjoyed this recipe because you use canned pork and beans. It does have a barbecue flavor. I did a video on this and it is so good. It'd be really good in the summer when you're grilling. It'd be great with hamburgers. It would be great with steak or mac and cheese, that sort of thing. But the Makes a Meal Baked Beans is a great recipe, especially if you were going to be grilling or barbecues in the summertime. Another fun recipe that I did, and I just have to mention this one. This is from the Better Homes and Gardens Fast Fixin' Chicken. I did this for one of my Pantry Challenge videos, and it is the chicken shortcakes. It has a funny name. I did a recipe read through for it, and it is a lot like a chicken pot pie that you serve over toasted English muffins. I had English muffins in my freezer that I wanted to use up, so I thought I would try this recipe. It tastes really, really good. I didn't have frozen peas and carrots. I only had frozen peas, I believe. But it tastes really, really good. And so even though it's a funny name, it tastes wonderful. And it came together in very few minutes. It says total time is 20 minutes. It's a very quick, easy, homemade recipe. You do use some condensed cheddar cheese soup. I had a few cans left on my shelf I wanted to use up. But this is a fun recipe. You could always make, your own cheese sauce if you wanted to. But chicken shortcakes is an honorable mention. Another honorable mention is going to be from the Friday is Fish. And I did the salmon. And I just did them in the oven. And they had really good flavor. They tasted really nice. And it's a way that I would normally pretty much make salmon. I just never used thyme on it before. I always just used dill and lemon. It tasted really nice. It was really, and my family enjoyed that meal. This is an honorable mention, the grilled salmon steaks. I probably will try that again here later in the year. I might try it with a different type of fish. Another honorable mention is going to be the pineapple upside down cake. And yes, I did a video for that. And the pineapple upside down cake, I think it's page 31. There it is. Was so good. My husband enjoyed it. Now, this isn't something that I make very often. This is kind of a treat. He was asking me to make this recipe. This is a vintage recipe. And if you follow along in the video, I had to bake off the rest of the cake mix into another pan. And I put them into smaller pans and actually put that cake in the freezer. But if you were wanting to do the pineapple upside down cake, you can get that recipe online for more current conversions and current ingredients and measurements. So you can use like a whole cake box for it. But it is a good recipe. If you've never made pineapple upside down cake, it is so good. And it only lasted about 4 days in the refrigerator before it was all eaten up. But I did a full video on this, and I also did a recipe read through. So be sure to check out my shorts because I share recipes every single day. And I try to choose recipes that people would want to make. And I try to use recipes that have just ingredients in them so you can make things from scratch. And I try to choose easy recipes. And then the next recipe that I thought I would try, that we tried and we really, really liked, and I wanted to mention it, is going to come from the Betty Crocker's Hostess Cookbook. This is from the 1960s. And I did garden dip. And it was on page 108. I did this live over on the TT socials. And my family really liked this one. It was really, really good. And I know that this recipe from Betty Crocker is in quite a few different cookbooks from Betty Crocker. It is in the Betty Crocker Picture Cookbook, and I think another one, because I've seen it, and I've seen quite a few. I did a recipe read through on a different recipe in the picture book, and it's in this book also. So those recipes do get recycled. You don't have to have all the cookbooks. But the Betty Crocker's Hostess Cookbook, the garden dip, is really, really yummy. And so I thought I would mention that. So those are some honorable mentions and of recipes that we did. And then our favoriteest recipes is going to be the pinto beans con carne. It's going to be the bean dip, the Molly's pork roast, the pizza dough, of course, the beef and broccoli, all of the recipe peanut butter dip. The Butterfinger pie is like everybody's absolute favorite. Well, I know why, because it's pie. But it tastes so good. It's so easy to make. It's a refrigerator pie. So these are the recipes that I did for the Pantry Challenge. I did many, many more recipes, but these are our favorites. So those are our honorable mentions and our top 10. So I just thought I would do a recipe recap of our Pantry Challenge, of all the recipes, the videos. If I can, I'm going to link them down below for you, but do check out my playlist, because I have all of the Pantry Challenge in a playlist for you. And I do include some of the recipe read-throughs in that playlist. And some of these I will go make sure that they are also in that playlist. So there's our recipe roundup for our Pantry Challenge 2025. And my goal to go forward from this is to continue to use all my cookbooks and my recipe cards to find new recipes. I want to do at least 1 or 2 new recipes a week, and hopefully I can be sharing those videos with you as we go along for the rest of the year. But in the meantime, do check out my short recipes. There is a playlist for those because I post those every single day. I want to thank you all for joining me today. Comment down below, what is your favorite recipe that I shared with you today or that I've shared on my channel? And if you could like and share and subscribe, I would really appreciate that. But we will all see you guys on the next video. Okay, goodbye for now, all. Have a great day. Bye.